to the state tournament, and so we wanted to just kind of say, hey, we're ready to take the next step. And Andre is wearing one that we do a swag bag for our man of the match, and so he's sporting one of our man of the match ones, and we do it as not necessarily the best player on the field. We do it as an exemplar performance, someone that represented us accomplishing our goal to the best of their ability. So it's just kind of a fun way that we get to just be the best Bobcat in a program that we hope to continue to grow. So yeah, thank you all very much.
Thank you. That's fantastic.
There's a lot going on.
That's so much going on. Excited for the year ahead. Because, I mean, there's always this year, right?
That's right.
Thank you all so much, and congrats to everybody. All right, moving along to our consent items. We have our minutes from our July 9th, 2024 retreat and our July 9th, 2024 regular meeting. Has everyone gotten a chance to take a look at those? All right, we have our superintendent's authority to appoint personnel between meetings. We have our bills and petty cash reports. Everybody got a chance to look at those? I don't think there were any more added. Use of school facilities and our student activities. Do I have a motion to approve the consent items?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, do we have anybody signed up to speak? I don't, okay. So we'll move along. Report of our superintendent,
Thanks
Dr.
very
Joyce.
much. Thank you. Mr. Dye is going to pull up sort of a fun little back-to-school presentation that we worked on the last couple of weeks, just to give you guys an oversight, an overview of some of the things that are happening here and our numbers, the way they stack up now. So, okay, Mr. Dye, my clicker. Does green mean go? Oh, hold on. Well, you can advance them.
Try the arrows.
Try the what? The arrows. That's okay. There we go. I was trying the arrows now for the record.
I believe you.
That's all I know on this thing is the arrow. So tonight I want to discuss with you quickly some of what makes up the school year. Could it be the podium?
It might be. You want me to just advance it?
If you don't mind. So we'll talk about student enrollment, talk about transportation, our meals at the schools, staffing, our partners that make it all possible, touch a bit on cell phones, and finally attendance. So we'll start tonight with student enrollment. And I have broken these down by classes. So the class of 2039, which are, I like to call them our little bitties, our 3-year-old pre-K, we have 12, and I don't really want to read to you, but I do want to call out some things to you. That the biggest grade at McCarg this year will be our 2nd grade class, 133 kids. That's the class of 2035. And if you have any questions or you need to stop me, just, well, let Mr. Dye know. We'll both stop. Next up for Bell Heath, beginning with advanced. Class of 2034, that's 96 students, 112, and then there's a big one on grade 5, class of 2032 at 139, and then grade 6 has 126. Want me to try again?
Try again.
Nope. Moving to Dalton Intermediate, grade 7, 129, and there's one of our larger groups, the class of 2029 at this point, has 140. Now this was accurate as of earlier this morning. So, and then we move to the high school, class of 2028, it's our incoming freshman at 121, and then you see the stays moderately close for the next 3 years, but we are a tick above, if I'm not wrong, Ms. Long, a tick above what we were at this point last year. Mm-hmm. So we welcome that news. There's a pie chart showing how we're split up. Most of those folks at the high school, followed closely by McCarg. Okay, thank you, sir. Next up, transportation. After talking with Mr. Smith, we have 19 bus drivers. Now, I did not include, we also have 3 car drivers that help transport nearly 600 students a day to our 4 schools as well as 3 off-site schools in Christiansburg, Whitfield, and Dublin. That's to and from. We have 13 buses with 2 new buses on the way. We were told middle of August or the end of August for those new buses. So that's exactly where we are right now. So we expect them to pull up any minute. 14 cars and vans. As of today, over 35% of our families count on the school division to help get their children to and from school. Why that may seem low is because some kids walk, obviously. We have families that take their kids to school, then we double up with our siblings and or our neighbors, okay? Technology, something that's probably dear to Mr. Dye's heart. Bell Heath has all new technology infrastructure starting out this year. We've upgraded the original intercom system at DIS. It is original to the building, so we thought it was overdue for an upgrade. Radford High School intercom messages now do not have to be repeated for Dalton. Even all calls and lockdowns, things like that, drills, were having to be repeated. You know, we had to call Dalton and say, you should probably lock down your school, because we are. But now that's all taken care of. All secondary classrooms, almost all secondary classrooms, restrooms have a swipe entry system where there's instead of a traditional lock and key, it's just a swipe. And so that lets you in classrooms and restrooms. All classroom doors at RHS and DIS are new, which allows for safer conditions during the day. The most prominent is the smaller window, so it's harder to see inside the classroom. And then all freshmen have Chromebooks that have been set up and delivered, as well as a new set for all of grade 6. So technology has been very busy over the summer, and we appreciate that very much. Breakfast and lunch, we're happy again to announce this year that both breakfast and lunch are available for all Radford City School students at no charge through the CEP program. Breakfast is delivered in a variety of ways, including traditional, second chance, and breakfast after the bell, so that we get the biggest bang for our breakfast buck, make sure those kids don't go to school or go to class hungry. And then beginning in September, this is sort of breaking news. I feel privileged to bring this news to you. Beginning in September, Smucker's PB&J will be offered 5 days a week. I think that's been on a limited basis until now, and Connie said that, Miss Wood said that would be big news. So I'm happy to bring that to you.
Excellent.
That's big in some worlds. All right, let's talk just a little bit about staffing over the summer. We're excited that we're almost fully staffed. We hired 23 new teachers, several of which graduated from this school division. 1 new school counselor, 4 school administrators are now in place, 2 division administrators, 12 support staff, including a full-time reading specialist addition, 1 school psychologist. We're still actively seeking JVG coordinator, that's jobs for Virginia graduates. That's a grant-funded position. We need to fill that, and a part-time math paraprofessional. I just wanted to give a shout out. Now, I'm probably going to miss a few of these partners, but I wanted to give a shout out to the folks that work with us to help ensure our students have the tools and support necessary to thrive and to achieve. And those include, next slide. Oh, maybe, okay. Of course, the city that we work closely with, the DOE, New River, Radford University. We have a couple, well, more than a couple. We probably have 4 or 5 initiatives running concurrently with Radford right now. That New River Community Action is Head Start. United Way is always supportive. Our athletes and scholarly athletes are in VHS Hill World, and our New River Valley Community Services with our counseling services. Thank you. Cell phones, real quick. I've been keeping a real close eye on how cell phones have been working at the school level. If you've heard something different, please let me know, but so far I've heard that it's been extremely smooth, and I want to thank our principals for that. I would say our secondary folks had the biggest lift, but it has been a pivot that I was frankly dreading, and it's not happened that way. It hasn't happened that way at all. Our administrators have adjusted their expectations to help soften that pivot to a cell phone-free education by allowing students the use of cell phones during lunch, and our students, staff, and families are to be commended for managing this change. The governor's, he sort of launched his initial guidelines late last week, and that says bell to bell, but now that's open for feedback. So if it does end up being bell to bell, we'll certainly talk about that. We are happy with what we have going on right now, and I have not heard complaints from families. I think the rollout was effective. Mm-hmm. The research is there, so it's hard to argue with that. Mm-hmm. So we feel very good about the cell phone use right now. Our teachers are modeling good cell phone behavior, and our students are following right along.
Is there a website or something where folks can give their opinions and
Yes.
thoughts?
If you go
a
to the
survey?
DOE and search the cell phone free education Executive Order 33, it'll take you to that page. It shows you all the guidelines, including the bell to bell, which would exclude lunch. So we can talk about that when it becomes, so they have a month for feedback, and then there's a link on there for feedback, but September 15th is supposed to be the end of the feedback session, and then they'll come out with what they think should be a model policy.
Okay, so adults and the students can all.
Everyone's encouraged to offer feedback. Now, those listening sessions were very effective. According to Dr. Coons, the listening sessions around the state, the feedback received there was really implemented into these new changes, and then the feedback now from now forward will be also just as important.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
so if you know your voice is being heard, if you feel strongly one way or the other, you're welcome to feedback and encouraged to offer feedback.
I think
I
a
would-
number of school divisions were already ahead of the curve on this.
Yes.
In their planning.
Yes, and frankly, we were too. Our cell phone policy is pretty straightforward. We didn't have to, there was not a big policy change that I felt like we needed to lift right now, because it could change again. And we were pretty good where we were. And it mentioned possession of cell phones, up and off is what we call them, put them up, turn them off. And I think it was not a very big change for our kids. The administrators rolled it out over the summer, big communication to the families. So they knew the expectations when they arrived. Unless I'm wrong, unless something broke loose today, I think the first week of school has been pretty smooth cell phone wise.
I'm just curious to see how this continues through its process, because I have very strong feelings about this as well, and I have submitted my feedback to it through
Good.
to the site. So, and I encourage anyone here or online to do the same. But there's also things that were pointed out to me recently, just for our knowledge and understanding. We do tend to rely on those tools as a tool.
Sure.
And I think as long as it is properly modeled, properly utilized, and we trust and empower our teachers in the classroom to know that this is a tool, that they can use it at their purview in their rooms,
Sure.
as we should, then I think we move on without being an issue. But there's many syllabus that I've seen that actually say you don't need a calculator, you can utilize this app on your phone, you will need to download this app to use in the classroom. And I agree with that. Frankly, as our goal is to try and prepare students to move on through life, we see that in the real world, we see that in higher education. So as long as we model the correct use of the tools and trust our educators in the rooms who are the boots on the ground per se to do the right thing and use their judgment, I say we work around it. We have to, because I'm a big fan of saying you can't litigate positive behavior. You just model it and trust it and enforce when you don't see it. So,
And I
but
think that's what's happening in the classroom.
that's what it sounds like, and it's been a good thing from what I've heard. But like I said, the thing that came across to me was there was some discrepancies of don't look at it, don't touch it, don't even think about it. By the way, download this app because you're going to use that during class. I'm like,
Right.
okay. But my response has always been trust the teacher in place. You trust them with their child, you should trust them with their judgment.
Right.
So
Very good point. So again, I appreciate the students, staff, families for helping make this a very smooth transition.
Can I just ask a question?
You sure can.
I've seen some comments or concerns, whatever, about the bathrooms being locked and the use of swipe cards. How does that work?
So I'm going to put you on the spot, but it's my understanding that in the best interest of the school as a whole, it's better that students go to the bathroom that's closest to their classroom, okay? So you can't, to my knowledge, you cannot swipe a bathroom that's way far off from your classroom at that particular time, okay?
Good idea. So the teacher, it has the swipe card for the bathroom closest to their classroom.
It's coded for each classroom. So
Okay.
if the students swipe, they get it, and if you only unlock the one closest.
Okay.
And they're unlocked during transition time, they're unlocked during, so it's on a timer.
Oh,
It
okay.
unlocks during.
Could you use the microphone so that folks at home can hear what you're saying too? Just, I know there's folks who are interested.
Sure,
Thank
no
you.
problem. So if a student asks to use the restroom during class, they get, every teacher has their own swipe, but then there's a student swipe, and the student swipe only goes to the nearest bathroom, and then it'll swipe them back into that classroom. And then during transition, all the swipes are on a timer that corresponds with the bell schedule. So during transition, all the bathrooms are unlocked.
And this is helpful when students are interested in being away from the classroom for reasons other than using the restroom. Okay? So it just helps Mr. Simpson and his team keep a closer eye on who's supposed to be where.
Does that
Thank you.
help?
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That should help.
Okay. Next up, attendance. I'm really excited to announce a renewed focus at Radford City Public Schools on attendance. Using all-in funds last year, we were able to hire Ms. Gerald. She's worked diligently to provide information to our community, our families, about the importance of coming to school, not only every day, but on time every day. She has worked closely with our school and building leaders to identify and mitigate attendance issues early so that missing school doesn't later on adversely affect your engagement and achievement. She has so many initiatives running at this time, it's hard for me to keep up. Because I asked her just yesterday, oh, I don't remember seeing that email, and she sent it to me again, and I could tell that she sent it to me again. So I apologize to her. This is one she sent out last week. Please strive for good attendance. It gives the phone numbers for each school, how to report your child's absence and why. And then, so that's handy. That's something we haven't had. Here is what she sent out. Now, granted, I understand that's only 2 days, but anytime you're in the upper 90s, like I used to tell my students, everyone starts with an A+, and it's your job to keep it there. So I love seeing these upper 90s. You see some 99s at the high school. You see some 99s at McCart. So this will go out each week for our principals and building leaders to gauge where they are attendance-wise. And then, next slide. Oh, sorry, that's all. But then what I do have here is yet another initiative that I didn't make the slideshow. It's how hot off the press it is. But what she'll do with that information is then start to track each student and have meetings immediately with those folks and just say, you know, even the governor announced today, 2 days in 1 month, you're on someone's radar. So, and for us, that's Miss Gerald, and she just wants to support the folks that need support before we end up going too far down the line. We do have some chronic absenteeism that we need to work on in this division, but I could not feel more comfortable with having Miss Gerald at the helm. Speaking of initiatives, no one sees this, sorry, but I just printed this off. This is something she sent out today. She's going to start some family nights here at the division. Each night will have a different theme. She's very excited about this. There's vaping, there's some mental health things, there's healthy parenting, and I won't read them all to you, but just be on the lookout. This is an initiative that's going to, I think, do a lot of good for our families, and it will also help tie into achievement and engagement. So kudos.
Mr. Burdock's going to help with that.
Yep, he's very involved. I think that was his acronym idea. So
And then they're going to provide childcare.
Yep.
Yeah.
Food. I'm very excited that that this is happening. I've seen it done in other places. I'm excited to see it done here. Okay, I want to talk to you guys, and that's the end of the slideshow. Thank you, sir, for producing that. I'm sorry that the clicker we couldn't get along. During our summer retreat, we talked about self-evaluation for this board and what we would do with those self-evaluations as far as building our goals. So I wanted you guys to know that now that we have everyone's self-evaluation, I'm going to start a Google sheet. I'm going to take the top 5 most likely topics that you have identified as needing attention. I'll put those out to you guys in a Google sheet. If you'll rank them for me, then we'll have some 2 and 2 and 2 meetings, and we'll come up with our board goals, and we'll get those settled for, if not September. That's my goal was September, but that's really quick. That's September 10. But at least by October, we'll have a set of goals situated, some timelines, and what it looks like when we've achieved those goals. Okay? So thank you very much. I know this is a holdover from July, but these things do take time. We don't have, so the capital projects this month will include, we're going to play football in that stadium Friday, and we'll have fans there. But that has been the slowest process. It seems like every time we turn around, there's a little hiccup. No one's fault, just happens to be, because we took on so many projects in that stadium, not just the seating, but we had a lot of ADA projects, we had some fencing projects, we had the railing projects. I want to thank Thompson and Litton, I want to thank Extreme Construction, and their partners for helping us get in there. It's going to be a gorgeous stadium. We didn't play in there Friday because of the rain. We moved that to the turf in Blacksburg. We appreciate those folks working with us. But Friday night, it's our benefit game against William Byrd, as you heard Colin tell us about. We look for a big crowd. That will help raise funds for the division's athletics program. And we're going to be ready. It's going to be really loud. So I'm excited to announce that. Believe it or not, there are multiple sandings taking place now on the gym floor. You rough sand it once, then you rough sand it again, then you medium sand it, and then you fine sand it. And if someone knows more about hardwood floor refinishing, jump in. But I thought sand, stencil, stain, and leave. But it's not, it doesn't. So there's why it takes 3 weeks. We will be playing volleyball in the gym very, very soon, I promise. And it's going to look gorgeous. The units are up, the units are running. All of our banners are back up, and now we're just waiting on some stenciling and some stain to dry. And we'll be right back in action. One more report I do have. Now this is serious breaking news, and one I'd like to brag about for just a minute. And I'm going to have to read it because I'm afraid that I was going to forget something. Okay? So today at 11 o'clock, the governor announced that at noon we were going to see our scores for last year. That's almost a month earlier than we saw this time last year for scores to be released, for all the data to be released. So Lisa Coons has been working day and night tirelessly to get this data put together. She and her chief of staff, Jamie Rayleigh. This will be our last accreditation data update because next year it's going to look totally different. In fact, you can throw everything you know about accreditation out the window. You will not miss 1 ounce of it. We're going towards things like growth, readiness, scores will be part of it, but we can count below 400 counts a little bit, 400 to a certain number counts a little bit more. Our pass advance counts over 1 point, okay? So I don't want to get into the weeds too deep, but there's a lot of moving parts, and they'll vote on that at the end of this month, and we fully expect it to pass. So at noon today, our data was released, and for the record, all 4 of our schools are fully accredited, so thank you very much. We do have, as I mentioned earlier, we have some work to do with absenteeism in some of our subgroups, meaning our students with disabilities, our black population, Hispanic, economically disadvantaged. But we do have supports in place to help those kids with their engagement and their achievement, so I'm looking forward to seeing those results. Our grade 3 through 8, and I'm talking to you, Mr. Freeman, and I'm talking to you, Mr. Wilder. We made tremendous gains over last year. That caught the attention of those at the DOE. I received a call last Thursday afternoon asking us for 4 or 5 bullet points as to why our grade 3 through math scores were up so much. I immediately called these 2 building leaders, and they were able to share with me some things that they had put in place using all-in funding to see big gains in our grade 3 through 8 math. The relationships that our teachers have with our kids is number 1, okay? All-in funding is great, initiatives and support is great, but if the teacher has a relationship with that student that's positive, everything else will fall in place. Our students strive to do well for the teachers. Mr. Wilder explained to me that those, and Mr. Freeman as well, those children don't want to fail for fear of disappointing their teacher. Simple as that. We're proud of our tutoring during the school day and after school. Our all-in funding was put to good use to pay teachers to put in some long afternoons so that our kids could achieve more. Also, our all-in funding allowed us room in the budget to hire Ms. Gerald. I think that we are yet to see the fruits of her labor. We also have, I've asked Dr. McDaniel to put together a presentation for the next board meeting explaining some of these things in greater detail, our scores, our subgroups, and where we are. But to close out this section of breaking news, I want to say thank you to all of our students, all of our staff members, teachers, and support staff alike, all of our families. Radford City Schools has shown an increase of over 3% in our SOL scores from the spring of 23 to the spring of 24. That's a jump of 9 spots statewide. Only 14 other divisions can say that. So I looked at the numbers for about an hour to make sure I was right. Radford City Public Schools has jumped 9 spots. 14 other divisions have jumped 9 or more. So we have a lot to be proud of. The good news is we're just getting started. All right. So thank you to the folks at Radford City Schools. This is great news. And And, well, I don't, so Jack was here, I'm supposing he was here as a dad.
He was here as a dad.
Right. We do not have, so I've given you the capital projects in a nutshell. We're almost there. Patience is a virtue, and that's my report.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Thank you to everyone you already listed. Thank you from the board. Thank you all so much for all the hard work you all have put in, and all of the staff and all the students making that last year successful, and as you said, just getting started. All right, moving on to action items. We have surplus equipment. Do we have reports of board members? Let's back that back up. Does anyone, I know we just got started. Does anyone have any reports?
I would just say from what I've seen so far, the band's already been band camp for about 3 weeks, working really, really hard. It's a really exciting show, so if you have a chance, come out Friday. You won't see the show yet, but you'll hear the best band in the land for sure. I can say that positively, best band in this half of the country, since I just got back from Oklahoma. And I mean, they might be D1 school, but they don't have anything on Radford Bobcat Band. They just don't. So sorry for those involved at my house. So it's going to be exciting. So definitely come out, see all the hard work they've put into it, listen to them. They're going to be awesome.
That's great.
I would agree.
Anyone else?
Just like to make a comment. Now, I've been on the board now for a few years, and I have to say for the first few days of school, I've heard nothing, which is always positive. And I'd just like to say that out loud. It has been so smooth the past few weeks, and I know we have administrators in new buildings, new administrators, central office at the schools, a lot of new teachers, a lot of new people. And it has just been, in my mind, so smooth. I feel almost like I'm not doing my job as a board member because I'm not getting phone calls. But I just want to say that out loud. Good job, guys. I know you've changed a lot. I mean, when you take on a new role, and you have everybody has different skills, different thoughts, different styles. I just wanted to say that. I don't know if you guys have the same experience, but I came tonight like, what are we going to talk about? Which, let me knock on wood, because I don't want that to change for sure. But I just want to say good job. I noticed that. It's the smoothest that I've been involved in.
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Sure.
Good.
Absolutely.
I just want to say, I'm excited about Imagination Library coming to Radford. I know it's a community initiative, but we will reap rewards from that, I feel, because the importance of books in homes and families reading with their children, that's how you build leaders. And I'm super excited about it.
Good.
And I'll report that the Governor's School for the Arts at Radford University, the planning board will be holding some meetings next week. So we're getting things congealed so that we can start to make the design and share the information about what is planned.
Isn't it nice to see the excitement on President Brett's face when he talks about it?
When he talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he kind of grins from ear to ear all the time anyway, but it gets even a little bigger.
Yeah. We have a big week coming up, so I appreciate you bringing that up. There'll be 2 big nights of meetings getting it off the ground. It's very exciting.
It's a good deal. This isn't exactly board news, but we do have this Saturday is the Radford Community Fest that's going to be downtown. And it's for families, children, all sorts of things going on, food trucks, live music, a beer garden, so not all for students. But there's lots of things to purchase and to see, and that's a partnership between the city and Radford University. And so I encourage our students and families to get out there and enjoy Radford with everybody else.
Sure.
All right, any other new business? Now moving on to action items, we have our surplus equipment.
1 copier, it's a Xerox copier that we would like to surplus Bell Heath.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the surplus equipment of the Bell Heath copier?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Would you like to take it home with you, Bill? Fair enough.
All right, I don't think we had any other action items this evening. Closed meeting, Dr. Ray.
Madam Chair, I move that the board convene into closed session pursuant to section 2.2-3711A1 to discuss the appointment, resignation, and retirement of employees of the school board, the admission of students, or for discussion of disciplinary matters that would involve the disclosure of information contained in a scholastic record concerning any student of any Virginia public institution or any state school system.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, we are in closed. I need a motion to convene in regular session.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're back in regular session. Dr. Ray, can you certify our closed meeting, please?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make the motion that we certify a closed session, that in discussion, we discuss item number 1.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And we have personnel matters. Do I have a motion to approve Personnel Report 1.0? Do
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We have student matters? No? Tuition students? We had tuition students. Can I get a motion to approve the tuition student report 1.0? Do
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. The date for our next regular board meeting is September 10th, 2024, 6 p.m. here at the School Administration Building. Thanks so much, and we are adjourned.